Hello, ladies. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. And we are talking about sugars today and why it's not evil. So, sugar gets a super, super bad rap, and influencers all over social media are telling you, like, just cut your sugars out and that will help you drop weight. It is the cause of all your problems. And that's not necessarily true. And so I have some notes today so I don't ramble too much and I stay on point because this is an important topic to me, because I feel like so many people just want to cut out their sugars completely and that will solve all their problems. But in my opinion, I don't think that that's the right move because it does have some benefits and it does provide you with energy, as long as we're choosing the right sugars, right? If you're taking those white processed sugars, that's one thing. But if you're eating your fruit, that has sugar in it. And if you follow the cut all your sugars out, you're not going to eat your fruit. And you get so many benefits from things like pineapple and strawberries and oranges and apples. And plus they taste delicious. So I don't want you to cut them all out. I want you to keep them in and just hear me out. All right? So if you're thinking that sugar is the cause of all of your health problems, I want you to try something. Just eat sugar all day, every day. Just for one day, actually. Just one day, eat sugar, that's it. And it sounds ludicrous, right? And I tell you, anybody that I have ever suggested this to thinks I'm nuts, right? Just eat sugar for an entire day. Right? But if you actually attempt it and try to challenge that, you'll learn one thing really, really quick, is that you'll get super sick of sugar real fast. So you might be able to down like a bag of like 5-cent candies, and then you're going to feel pretty gross. I also just noticed that like I dyed my hair yesterday and then I got sweaty working out and now I have like red hair dyed down my face, so that's cute. Side point, I went off. Oh, it's on both sides. Cute, matching. Anyways, so back on point. So you'll get sick of sugar real fast if you only eat sugar, right? So if you're going for those processed white kind of sugar things, you're gonna get sick real fast. Not only will you just not want to eat it anymore, but you're gonna feel nauseous. So it's not really a thing that you can do, right? And overeat that way. So like I said, I'm seeing a big trend with misinformed coaches and Instagram influencers and social media and posts saying, try this diet for only $19.99 and you're gonna cut out all your sugars and you're gonna feel fantastic, blah, blah, blah. And they're missing a lot of things. And they're basically labeling sugar as evil and pleading with you to remove every gram of sugar out of your diet. And the most extreme of them are going to argue that sugar itself is what's causing weight gain and diabetes, and it may be as addictive as drugs. All right? Now, none of these claims are true. For every ounce of sugar you put into your system, you do not gain an ounce of fat. So it's not causing you to actually gain that weight, right? The relationship between sugar and diabetes is far more complex than glucose in the blood, and then the glucose goes way, way up, right? And research shows that sugar itself is not what's addictive. Okay, so sit with that for a second. Okay, so sugar by itself is not some demonic force controlling your actions and adding pounds to the scale or making you feel terrible. It's just a piece of the puzzle. Okay, so I'm not saying that go and eat sugar all day every day, right? But it's not the only cause of the issue. It's not evil in itself. All right, so we got to give it a little bit of slack because there are some benefits, right? So if it's not the sugar that's addictive, why does it feel that way? Why, when we cut it out, do we get maybe a little bit of headaches, that sort of thing, right? So if you feel like you're addicted to foods, and many of us do, It's likely because it's the highly processed, highly engineered, hyper palatable, really rewarding foods like your ice creams, your chips, your french fries, your cookies. Definitely the ice cream and the chips for me. I could not eat cookies. That does not bother me at all. But it's the ice cream that's sitting in my freezer that, that I'm thinking about and I want. And, I must have it. Like, I know I don't need it, right? But it's just a nice treat every once in a while. Okay, so it's those things that, you kind of feel like you're a little addicted to, right? So, and those are the ones that we feel addicted to, not like the kale, right? I don't know. Actually, I know one person who says she's addicted to celery, and I think that's BS, but that's just between you and me. So, sugar is one of the most indulgent foods. So, yes, and so are other refined carbohydrates, right? So, when I'm saying that, like breads, that sort of thing, but fat is as well as salt. Okay, so sugar is not the only culprit. There are a lot of different culprits kind of feeding each other. Okay, so it's not just the sugar, it's the fat, it's the salt, and all of those processed foods are made to taste like super good and yummy, and it's something that you like the taste of, so you want to go back to, right? And those nutrients is what's driving the cravings and the overeating. So the combination has a powerful way of alighting the pleasure in that food that centers our brain, right? So hopefully you're still following along with me. So what's also interesting about these nutrients is that rarely, if ever, will you find all of these together in whole foods. So foods that you make on your own, right? But it's not just the foods, it's the entire overeating experience, right? So think of fresh soda versus flat soda or crispy potato chips versus stale potato chips, right? Think about it. Have you ever felt like you couldn't stop eating a bag of stale potato chips or drinking that pop that went flat? No, it's the texture, it's the mouthfeel, and other specifically engineered qualities that play those important roles as well. Okay, so it's an experience. And one of the things that I love so much about ice cream is it brings me back to those times that my dad used to take me for ice cream. And, got the whole sob story. My parents split up when I was young, and it was one of those things that my dad used to pick me up on the back of his little motorcycle, and we would go for ice cream all the time, and that was just our thing. And so ice cream is kind of just one of those triggers for me, and it like makes my heart happy. So not only is it delicious in my eyes, but it also brings back so many memories, and that is what all of these foods are specifically engineered to do. Okay, and it sounds like I'm getting a little off sugar, but the topic is coming back. Okay, it's all really complicated, and I do understand that, but that's exactly the point. Okay, so you can't simplify the complex nature of highly engineered treats into a boilerplate, for lack of better words, and just say stop eating sugar, because there's so much more than that. Okay, so what can you do? That is the real question, right? So stop using sugar as your only basis of if a food is healthy or not. Okay, because if you're gonna do that, you're gonna look at a pineapple and an orange or an apple and say that it's not healthy, right? So we got to stop that first. Okay, so sugar, having a sugar content doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy or not. All right, second, run any food you feel addicted through these criteria. All right, so 5 major things. So foods that you feel like, oh, I can't stop eating this, like what is it, right? So ask yourself these 5 questions about these foods. Okay, so is the food calorie dense? All right, So these foods are often high sugar and or fat. Things that are calorie dense are going to be like an Alfredo pasta. All right, so you've got your white pasta, which does have quite a bit of sugar in it. You've got your Alfredo sauce, which is full of fats and butters and good things, right? And the calorie content on that is going to be quite high. All right, you want a nice big juicy burger, and we've got the white bun, we've got a huge burger patty that is likely not a lean beef, we've got bacon and mayonnaise and cheese, so high calorie count, right? And the fat content on that is high, and the sugar content on that is going to be high. All right, so that's something that's going to have like a really lost my train of thought. It's going to have a big sugar content that isn't going to be doing as much for the body. Okay. Second thing is the food intensely flavored. So these things often have really, really strong taste. And think of like the flaming hot Cheetos. Okay. Or like the birthday cake Oreo cookies. All right, they've got tons of flavor in it. And these sort of things are going to be the heavily processed, flavor intense, super engineered food, tastes real yummy, but don't have a lot of nutrients that are going to be helping you with your day. All right, so it doesn't mean that you can't have one or two and make it fit in your diet, but eating a box of them is doing your body no good. Okay, the next thing is it immediately delicious? So love at first taste kind of experience. All right, so for me, that's Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia ice cream. Delicious. I loved it from the very first bite. Super processed, engineered, got a lot of stuff in it, high calorie content, right? So it's fitting all of these bills so far. So I know that it's not, first off, going to be great for me. However, I do get the same experience when I bite into a juicy strawberry, right? It's highly delicious, but then it falls into that low calorie situation, right? Is it easy to eat? That's number 4. So easy to eat, so finger foods that are portable, long lasting. Twinkies can last like, I'm pretty sure since they first started, there's the original Twinkie that's still technically edible, right? Or require minimal chewing, right? So things that are just like quick, readily available on the shelf. You don't ever even look at the expiry date on them because you know that they're basically good forever. Those are gonna be the super engineered things. Okay? And then number 5, does the food melt? So these foods dissolve in your mouth, and thus they are easy to eat and quickly to overconsume. Okay, so my ice cream falls into that category, and so many other things like those soft Cheetos they just melt in your mouth. Oh, they're so good, but super highly processed. So if you look at the different options, we've got 5 questions to ask. Is it super calorie dense, right? We all have trackers now on our phone where we can just scan something's barcode and see how much is in a serving, right? So how many calories. So we can easily find out how calorie dense it is. Is it intensely flavored, right? Is it immediately delicious? Is it easy to eat? And does the food melt? Okay, so things that fall into that category are going to be like salt and vinegar potato chips. High calorie, intensely flavored, immediately delicious. They melt in your mouth. They're super easy to eat, right? Just popping them in and you don't even think about it, okay? Something that has a couple but not all of the qualities is going to be like fruit, so sugars from fruit. So you can have strawberries, I'll come back to. And so not calorie dense, so that's They don't make that first one, but they are fairly flavorful, right? They're pretty intensely flavored, but it's natural. You know that these strawberries grew in the ground and got picked, came to the grocery store, and you've got them. Immediately delicious, I would say yes. And then easy to eat. Yes, you can just eat quite a bit of them. I could eat like a whole tub of strawberries if I wasn't paying attention, no problem. But it doesn't melt. I actually have to physically chew it. Okay, so do you see where the differences are? Questions, comments, drop them down. All right. So the trouble with these, the food satisfy many or all of these, then it might be worth removing or limiting these foods. So take maybe 2 or 3 of your favorite foods that you think you cannot live without and go through this test and ask yourself these questions and see, is it worth keeping it around, or are these maybe something I can limit from my diet? And what I'm going to do is I'll actually drop these questions down in the comment section for you as well. So you can kind of go through that quiz yourself. Okay. So the bottom line out of all of this is sugar is not a health promoting compound. Eating a lot of sugar does not make the body better. Okay, I just want to make that clear. It doesn't make the body better, stronger, healthier, more functional. It doesn't contain a lot of vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, fiber, or anything like that. And there's not really a lot of physiological benefit for most of us. It is super easy to overconsume, right? Especially in sweetened drinks and other highly processed food. But it's not evil either, okay? So we're allowed some discretionary calories, of course. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I preach that. And that includes sugar. Okay, so now where should you be getting your sugar? Places like fruit, 100%, great. Maple syrup isn't highly processed if you get proper Canadian maple syrup, right? And a great way to add a little bit of flavor to some yogurt and granola or in your coffee. Honey as well, especially if you get organic honey. Adding into your teas or your coffees, a great way for a little bit of sweetness to kind of cut that craving. And these are all low processed ways to get in that sweetness. So maple syrup, honey, I love some plain Greek yogurt with a little bit of granola, fruit, and just a drizzle of some local honey. Super delish. And it gives me that little sweet treat that I'm looking for, because I do feel like I have a bit of a sweet tooth. I know that it just, growing up, I was raised with a Portuguese nanny. She was basically my mom, and everything had like layers of jam on it, and I was always too skinny, and she always wanted to feed me and sweeten me up and give me treats. And so it's one of those things for me, again, that brings me back to those nostalgia days. All right, so I'll drop in the comments those questions again, and you can run through, maybe drop comments on what some of those foods are for you that kind of hit all 5 of those targets. For me, it's definitely the ice cream, and I do like my chips. All right, and I want to know what those foods are for you, and let's make a pact together to maybe just cut out or limit. Let's limit the amount. So I've got half a tub of Haagen-Dazs in the freezer, and I am going to do my best to leave it there until Sunday. And then maybe I'll eat a quarter of it, and that should satisfy, right? Because I just need a little bit and then to put it away. So just limiting our sugar, trying to get it from natural sources. So avoiding all of those processed foods. And hopefully you have learned a thing or two from this little chat. I think it grows better when I have my notes by my side, so I'm going to do that again next week. Drop your comments, let me know what you think. Love you all. Super thankful you took the time to watch and listen. And we will see you again next Tuesday. Thanks, guys.